Hello, I'm Elizabeth, an obsessive backyard gardener who might be able to offer you a couple of tips.
And I'm Keith, a landscape consultant, and I'm also passionate about gardening.
The one thing we both have in common is muddy boots. Muddy Boots is proudly sponsored by Clyde Compost, the premium compost trusted by gardeners who want results. Packed with goodness, free from nasties and perfect for healthy soil and thriving plants. Visit clydecompost.com and tell Vince that Keith and I sent you.
Best product out. Absolutely brilliant compost.
Welcome back to Loose Leaf, our monthly sit-down where Keith and I let the garden lead the way. No set topics, no script, just the two of us catching up on what's been happening in our own gardens, and I am reading this bit, and beyond since last month. From little surprises to big seasonal shifts, it's a chance to share the ups, downs and discoveries that come with life among the plants. So let's see where today's chat takes us. Keith, what's going on in your garden at the moment?
Right. It's just sitting there waiting. It's just thinking. All the good things are actually happening in the soil at the moment. So after all the brassicas all came out, ripped out, they dried out. I washed the roots of the broccoli, and I did pull everything out of the beds because my beds are all raised.
Yes.
So I'm not cutting off the roots and leaving them in the soil. I'm replenishing that soil all the time.
Okay.
So last weekend, for instance, I was lucky enough to have all the brassicas all pulled out, and some of the stems on them were just absolutely enormous.
Why did you wash the broccoli root? Why did you say you washed the broccoli root?
Because my mulcher doesn't like dirt.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
And then, of course, I had two of my grandchildren over, Archer and Arlo.
Arlo and Archer, yes.
And I fitted them up with some little earplugs, and then I gave them a face mask each. So, and then I fired up the big mulcher, and let the kids feed the broccoli and brassicas all the way through the mulcher, and they just had an absolute ball watching that. These great big pieces of foliage just blitz itself into this beautiful organic matter which just sprayed over the soils, and it just looked absolutely fantastic.
The mulcher actually just, you put everything in and there just sprays everywhere.
Yeah, it's got a chute that comes out the side, and it just blows you can set the angle, which is just fantastic. So I could spray the neighbours from my backyard.
You'd love that, wouldn't you?
They wouldn't.
No, one that I know you wouldn't like it at all.
No.
But yes, it's okay. So everything's sitting and waiting for your planting.
So it was really good. And once again, we had a visit from Beck and Shan from Monash Organics.
Yes,
they came down to have a bit of a talk and a bit of a look. So
fantastic.
We did a couple of videos with them, which was on Instagram.
How's your Instagram page going, Keith?
I think
he's a bit of a star.
It's going pretty well. I'm getting a couple of new people joining each week. So it's been going well. It's been going really, really good.
Fantastic.
And thanks everyone for following. And it was great to show both Becca and Shan the results of their product, Vince's product with the Clyde compost, the Who Flung Dung, and the Go-Go juice.
Yes.
So we had one of the beds where we had the Who Flung Dung over it. I put the Clyde compost into it. I put the Monash rock dust into that as well, and then I populated the whole thing with the Go-Go juice.
Yep.
And nothing happened for 2 to 3 weeks. So when you pulled that soil back, the mulch back, and you looked down into the soil, there was nothing. And of course, you think
there were no worms.
There was no worms.
Okay.
And of course, if you think about how a soil is, if you dig up a soil and there's no earthworms or no worm, then there's no soil life. Mm. And this is the whole reason for the way that I do and prepare my beds, is because I know what the end result is going to be. So it was great to be able to have Beck there, and we pulled back these beds that have been sitting there for 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks, and just to pull that mulch back and just see that soil teeming with worms was just absolutely fantastic.
Your job's working. What are you doing?
It's all working,
all
yeah.
those additives are working really well.
Exactly, and it just reinforced the fact, when we had Vince down, Vince came and had a look at the back garden, and he walked around and he just shook his head, because this was late winter when he was there, and he just shook his head and he said, "This isn't just all about my compost, is it?" And I said, "No, Vince, it's not. It's about all the other amendments that we put into that soil to create this magical growing medium."
So there is a recipe, not just compost. There's a whole recipe,
There's a
which
whole
I
recipe.
think everyone knows about by now, because we've talked about it a lot. Keith specifically has talked about it a lot about the
Yep.
4 or 5 things you need to add
Yep.
to really have a really
And that
healthy
works,
soil.
and it works so effectively. It's such a great reward, and the more people that come on board and follow that particular regime, the more success that
benefit
they're
they'll
going to
have,
have,
exactly.
and the healthier that they're going to be, because it's all the goodness that's going back into them.
Fantastic.
Which is great.
That's great. So that's your month in the garden then?
Well, just about growing all the tomato seedlings, potting them up, staking them, and getting them outside. I've got some of the bigger ones are now out of the hothouse, so they've come out of their little environment there, their little safe little living space, and they're now out on the beds where they're going to be planted, covered in a net, which will just protect them a little bit from the wind.
Because it's
But they've all
warming
been
up.
staked.
It's still a bit icky out there, but
Yeah,
it is
a bit
warming.
icky.
It's warming up.
But that's all right. The soil temperature's starting to come up a little bit
Okay,
now.
that's good.
So
That's
it's
good.
all good.
Fantastic.
So yeah, even though it's not the most vibrant time of the year, there are still things happening
It's
in the garden.
It's
which is
starting.
great.
It's starting.
It is.
Well, it is, but it's definitely starting, because we've got a lot of new growth on all our plants.
Yep.
So, because we're a couple of weeks into spring now, and there's a lot of good growth out there. So it is a pretty exciting time of the
It
year. I
is.
think it's exciting. I love going around and looking in, especially with my 2-year-old garden, and looking into seeing all the new, all the new buds coming out. The sedums are coming up. The euphorbias are looking beautiful. So I think it's an exciting time of the year, really.
And
I know it's perhaps not so exciting in the vegetable area, but that's not probably my fascination as much as it is yours. Mine's more of the flowers and the plants.
Yeah, but
and things like that.
your vegetable garden will look better a bit later on.
Yeah.
When the plants come around.
Yeah, so
So we've got
basically, I'm a bit
tomatoes coming
spoiled.
for you. We've got chilies coming
Yes.
for Brett. I might even get you an eggplant. See what Brett can come up with an eggplant.
What about a watermelon?
Hey?
Grab me a watermelon too.
No, I'm not growing watermelons.
Melons? Oh,
no.
well, we'll try that. But yeah, we are very spoiled here, because I don't really need to do anything with seeds, because I have a friend here who just turns up with plants. I am very, very spoiled in the vegetable garden area, and the rest as well.
Yeah.
So yeah. So
And what about your backyard?
well, my backyard is done except for the plants.
Mm-hmm.
So fantastic, lovely, wonderful Matt Phillips from Morningside Landscapes has completely gutted the backyard and put in the compost, removed rocks, put in paths, bluestone pavers. You might have seen some of these things on Muddy Boots Instagram. And then we've covered everything with granitic sand, and it looks absolutely fantastic. So now it's my job to add all of the plants, and there are quite a lot of money's being spent.
Yeah,
but that's
I know.
okay. Luckily, we're rich. And it was, I think, would you all know that Keith obviously designed this? Keith designed the front, which I'm pointing at. He's designed the whole thing.
Well, we
Really?
haven't got round to the front yet, have
Well,
we?
you have designed it, though.
No,
we just
no,
haven't
but-
done it. It's just the
We-
side.
That's I know. But
The side hasn't been
everything's
done.
time and money.
Oh, I don't know
It's
that.
time and money.
I know, but we're getting there.
Yeah.
So the back garden is done. We put a beautiful bench seat in, which is massive and magnificent. We can look over the roof to the Mornington Peninsula, which is lovely. And so I'm just gradually and slowly enjoying planting my plants. So I will show you some pictures when it's done.
They get going.
When it's done, but it's absolutely fantastic. So yeah, I've had a busy time too.
Yeah.
And I'm just loving watching, as I said, the 2-year-old garden really coming along. It's fantastic.
Yeah, and look, it's interesting now that you look out there, and I guess the thing that makes it such a realization for me, in actual fact, is knowing what's happening in the soil.
Yeah.
So during the colder months, the plants are not accessing what are called cations. That is the measurement of energy and food in the soil, they're actually using an anion. So when it comes into the warmer months, and you see these plants just turn on, they're getting access to all that goodness that you've put into that soil.
Yeah.
And I just love looking out there. I mean, looking out across your garden bed now, you can see the catmint in there, and then behind that you've got the beautiful sedum, and then behind that you've got the euphorbias
and the grasses,
and it's great to see the Trachyospermum starting to get up and climb and do its bits and pieces as well.
Yeah, it's the only one thing I'm thinking of, and this is something we should talk about later. But we've got they're dealing the Trachyospermum being the star jasmine is battling a little bit because it's got the grasses next to it. So that's the only thing. So that's just, I suppose that's just going to take a bit longer to shoot up. It has got growth, but it's
got a lot
slower.
more growth, and you'll find that this year, now that that plant is established in that ground, it will get up a lot higher because it'll say, I've got to get up and get some space, I've got to get some light, I've got to get all this sort of stuff. So it'll search
work
for that.
Harder.
And it'll work harder, which is good.
There we go. And also I've been very busy feeding all my plants in the existing gardening with Nutrogs Gigantic, as per your advice.
Yep.
I have not the hydrangeas that I have in pots though, because I've been using a bit of Kahuna on that, which is another Nutrog product.
Yep.
Could we talk about Nutrog a lot? And I've also added Go-Go juice to everything as a liquid fertilizer, and everything I've done has been according to the moon calendar. So I'm learning from this guy. I'm actually learning, and I'm doing what he says, and it seems to work. So
that's
fantastic.
working beautifully for you, isn't it?
It is. Thank you so much. Now, I think we need to talk about what, in general, now that it's mid-October and our gardens really are at the best time of, at their best at this time. I think they're at their best.
Yep.
And moving forward into summer. There's plenty to be done right now. So should we talk about maybe run through a quick list of all the necessary things to do, just to remind everybody, if anyone's forgotten. So can we start with the vegetable garden? I know we've discussed it a few times, but can you remind us what we should be doing or have already done to prepare our beds for planting?
You would have already done your hard work and got your compost in, your rock dust in there, and your hooflung dung on the top, and maybe some Verasoil worm castings, which you can get from Bunnings. So that's the sort of thing you want to be doing. The next thing you want to be checking out for your vegetables is just what your soil pH is. So go and buy yourself a $17, $18 test kit from Bunnings called Manutech, and do your soil test and make the adjustments where necessary to the correct pH from the instructions on the packet. So it'll tell you how much lime you've got to add, and try to get a good quality garden lime. Or if you've got to reduce the pH because it might be too high, then you've got to use something like flowers of sulphur. Or if you happen to be somewhere on the Mornington Peninsula or in that area, you can contact Clyde Compost and get a bag of his lignite humate, which will beautifully benefit a soil that is high in pH, and pull that down. That's a great organic way of doing it, and I've seen the results from that from a neighbour who had a very, very high pH compost in his soil, and we added some lignite humate to it, and it pulled it down really, really quickly and effectively. Whereas the flowers of sulphur, flowers of sulphur are little tiny yellow balls that you apply over the surface to a moist soil, and the microbes then attack those little yellow balls, and they convert that into sulfuric acid.
Okay.
And that sulfuric acid then pulls down the pH of the soil to the right measurement that it should be. And that can take between 4 to 6 to 8 weeks. So it's a very, very slow way of doing it. But you've got to have your pH in the right little bits, So 6.5, 7, maybe just a little tad over 7, but not any more than that. And that'll set you up for just perfect gardening.
Going back to the lignite humate, you said if you're on the Mornington Peninsula, but I think you can. It's throughout Victoria, but people can access it, but it has to be directly from Vince. Still, he's not actually selling it.
No, not at this
through
stage.
Bunnings or anything like that.
No, it's not.
No. So you've got to go direct to Vince.
This is where we're going. Hopefully, Vince is going to ramp things up a little bit and have this available as a product that you can actually purchase.
Good. Okay.
In various spaces.
What can we plant right now, being mid-October in all states?
Okay, so the things you can stick into your ground now will be things like your tomatoes, lettuce, do your carrots, beetroots, parsnips. These sorts of things can go into your soil right now. Okay. And you'd be surprised I didn't realise just how many carrots we actually consume per week. Until we started growing our own, and
Great snack.
the only negative side about growing your own carrots is some of the two-legged pests that you sometimes have coming around in the form of your little grandchildren, because they love to pull out a carrot and then try to find one that's bigger than the one they just pulled out. So you actually lose an awful lot of carrots when you've got grandkids coming around, particularly when you've got two of them looking at, oh, that one's bigger, and I'll get a bigger one. And that's it. But they pull them out, we give them a wash, and they eat them there and then on the spot.
They're so
and
good.
they know just how good those carrots are because they've come out of beautiful soil and they're homegrown.
Yeah.
And
Well, they've
that's
perhaps
just
got their own
fabulous.
at home.
Well, no, they haven't got their own at home because they wouldn't last long enough for them to get them out.
there's no
At
point.
least they're
Come over to your
coming
house
once
and
every
have a
couple
few.
of
Yeah,
weeks
yeah,
at our
yeah.
place. So
Yeah, yeah.
something they've got enough time to grow.
Okay.
But lettuce is a great thing to be putting in, and you get all sorts of different lettuces. You get the Australian yellow
Yeah.
leaf lettuce that you harvest the leaves,
Yeah.
not the whole plant.
Yes.
So there's lots of
it
things.
keeps going.
Beans are another great thing that you could be planting in now. Your baby sunbeams. This is a time of the year to be getting those in. Your other types of beans, your climbing beans, scarlet runner beans, which is a perennial. So if you've got a spot that you can grow beans and just leave them, they will come back for up to 7 years.
Wow.
And they're a fabulous bean.
Okay, that's easy.
It's probably one of the best beans that you'll ever get in England is the scarlet runner bean. They're renowned over there, for their scarlet runner beans.
Okay.
So it's a beautiful, beautiful bean.
Not much of a bean fan, but thank you for that
No,
information.
that's all right.
And what about flowering plants like nasturtiums and marigolds? That's a good time to plant them now.
Yeah, look,
I know you're not interested, but for those
I don't eat any of those things.
nasturtiums are great in
Look,
salads.
they're a bit peppery, but I prefer to have arugula.
No. Yeah. Oh well, I like a bit of that too. We didn't mention that. I've got some lovely arugula in the garden. It's growing
Oh.
beautifully thanks to Keith.
That's good.
Very nice. I'm very excited about
Parsley?
that. Yes, got plenty of parsley. Yes.
And I have mine in the orchard section of my garden, and I just let it come, seed, drop, and then let it come again.
Sounds
And
lovely.
it's fabulous because you can just wander around the garden. Oh, there's some parsley. And,
Goes on forever.
Yep, and
Goes on
it's,
forever.
it's a beautiful source of iron, so it's just fantastic.
No wonder you're so healthy, fit and healthy, Keith. Amazing. It's a great time to plant annuals to add colour to pots and garden beds.
Yep.
Things like cosmos, nasturtiums, zinnias, snapdragons, violas,
Yep.
petunias, asters, sunflowers.
Sunflowers.
A lot of
now-
people like growing sunflowers.
Yeah, sunflowers are fabulous, and they're great. They're great for children.
Yeah.
And there's some incredibly big size ones. There's giant Russian, which can get over 2 meters tall, and it's got a head the size of a dinner plate, and it's got these beautiful deep dark colours to it,
Yeah.
even into a slightly red form of it.
Beautiful.
So there's a whole heap of different types of of those. Corn, another thing you can
Yes.
sort of think about
Yes.
having.
Yep, beautiful.
And then if you're doing corn, once the corn gets up and gets a bit of height to it, then you can go and plant next to it some climbing beans,
Okay.
and let the beans use the stalk of the plant to climb
Good
up.
idea. Very good idea.
And then you've got 2 crops.
Yeah, amazing. Okay, now I applied both liquid and granular fertiliser to the garden in early September.
Mm-hmm.
But for anyone who hasn't fertilised yet, it's never too late to do so. What should be fertilised now, and what products do you recommend?
If you haven't already done a really good bed preparation like I have, then you'd want to be using some liquid fertilisers. Please never make the mistake that so many people do when it's springtime, that people go out and say, oh, it's about time my garden had a feed. I'll go and get some blood and bone. Because blood and bone can take up to 3 months before it's active at the roots. It's got to be converted by the microbes in the soil to become a food, and that can take an awful lot of time. So if you're going to be using blood and bone, put it out in the winter. So it's got a period of time to be generated into a food source for the actual plants that will be happening around the springtime. Liquid fertilizers are great. And there are a lot of different types of liquid fertilizer you can get. There's one I use on the peninsula, and it will become prominent eventually, and that
Yes.
is EEC, and it is a liquid fertiliser, a fish fertiliser that has been derived from deep sea fish. So it doesn't contain the levels of heavy metals that some of the
Some
other
others
brands
can.
contain, because
Yep.
it's from the deep sea.
Okay.
It's a fabulous fertiliser, and it's the guy who owns that particular business, Lee Calabrese. He's actually working with Dr. Mary Cole, who has assisted Clyde Compost with their products, and who is also assisting at the moment with Monash,
Right.
working some more bits and pieces into their
That's
products.
right.
So these are all wonderful organic foods that are going to be happening and become available better than ever before. So it's
Okay.
just absolutely sensational.
Good for the planet as well.
Yep.
Okay, fantastic. So liquid fertilizing is a good thing to be doing at
Yes.
the moment, and also you didn't really mention any names though. So when you're talking about pelletized fertilizer, things like
Charlie Carp you could use if you wanted to.
Oh yeah, that is liquid. That's a
Yeah,
pelletized and liquid.
If you had to, you
Rooster
could use...
Booster? Or no, we're
no.
just talking about pelletized.
That's a pelletized
yeah,
form.
but I'm saying pelletized as
But
well.
it'll work. It'll work. Not as quickly as a liquid fertiliser.
Right.
That's what you got to understand.
Combine the two.
And if you use a liquid fertiliser, and a good quality one, and there are a few available, but if you can find an organic brand, that's fantastic. Go-Go juice is something you could be applying, because that's going to feed the microbes.
Go-Go juice would be good if it came on you could attach a hose to Go-Go juice. I don't think you can get the pack where you can attach a hose to it. Do you know?
I don't know.
I think that would be, if Nutrog are listening by any chance, that would be great if you could do that, because I haven't found it and I was looking for it at good old Bunnings recently.
Yeah.
So
Sea salt. People make the mistake year in, year out.
It's not a
of
fertiliser.
saying, I've just fed my plants with sea
No,
salt. Well,
no,
you
you haven't.
haven't fed your plants
No,
at all.
no.
All you've gone and done is actually stimulated the cell structures of the plants. So it's great for the health of the plants, but it's not a food.
it's a little tonic, not a food.
It's a tonic, exactly.
Yes. A top-up of mulch is also beneficial leading into summer. I know we talk about this quite a lot, but it never hurts to have a reminder.
Yep.
Which mulch products do you suggest for various garden styles, and what are its benefits?
On all my designs, I specify granitic sand, and generally the best
On all
source
your
of-
designs?
Sorry?
On all your designs, do
All
you?
nearly 99% of my job, unless I've got a particular client
Who doesn't want
says,
that.
no, I don't want to use that
Yeah.
for some reason,
Yeah, right.
then I would say to them, use a fine pine bark. Use a 12 to 14 mil pine bark, not a great big chunky thing that
Yep.
gets blown around or kicked around by the kids. Use a very, very fine pine bark.
Yep.
Don't use a bark that's created from the side of the road, from the guy that goes through pruning all the trees underneath the power lines, because that's just absolute rubbish. And don't use a bark or a mulch that is a wood chip, unless you're prepared to go out and put a couple of handfuls per square metre of Rooster Booster or Blood and Bone on the soil first before you put it, and then add some more after it, because those sorts of things are pure carbon, and carbon is one of the hardest things for microbes to break down. They've got to pull the nitrogen out of the soil in order to feed them, to break that down. So go for a bark, or better still, do all your hard work first, putting all your organic
Yep.
composts and
Yep.
lignites
Yep.
and these sorts of things in the soil, and then cap it over with granitic sand.
Okay, sounds
Yep.
good. Lawns should be looking quite lush
Yep.
after some good rain.
Yes.
In most states, anyway. How can we maintain a healthy lawn at this time?
Okay, so I went out and bought myself a bucket of Sudden Impact for Lawns.
Yes.
Once again, another Nutrog product, which is all organic. But before I applied it, I went out with my FD Ryan prepping fork, and I put the fork down into the soil, opened the soil up, gave me a bit of a physical workout, which was good.
Yeah.
And then I applied my Sudden Impact for Lawn over the top of that. And then we had a good shower of rain, and that washed it in, and it is just as green as right this minute. And mine is kikuyu. It is
Right.
all that temperate grass that normally goes yellow and dormant in the middle of winter. But if you get the air and the soil and the moisture down deep,
Yep.
get the roots down there, it will sustain itself and keep it green all year round.
Okay.
So my lawn is just looking absolutely brilliant at the moment with a good feed.
Amazing. When it comes to pruning, what should we focus our secateurs on right now?
Your pruning, your pruning should have already been done. It should have been done either in summer or in winter, depending on what you're growing.
Yep.
So at this time of the year, for instance, I've got a persimmon tree in my backyard, and it was pruned after I'd harvested everything off it while it was dormant, and I just went round rather quickly and just pruned it right back hard because I need to stimulate lots more growth on it. But I notice now that there are a few little stubs that are not producing any leaves, so I've gone around with my secateurs and just pruned those back closer to the trunk of the actual tree, just to stop that from becoming a source of disease.
Right.
Getting into it, either borer or fungal disease into the trunk of the tree.
Yep.
So go around with your secateurs, have a look at your plants, and where you see a little branch that is not alive, just go in there and snip it off.
Okay.
And just tidy your plants up. Just stop the branches that are crossing over.
Yep.
So any branches that might rub together, get rid of the one that's growing inwards.
Yep.
And make sure you got all your branches growing outwards, particularly your fruit trees, so you've got this beautiful formation where you've got the air and the light coming into the centre of the tree.
And any spring blooming shrubs that have, if they've flowered, then obviously cut them, deadhead them. To encourage more blooms.
Except if you've got plants with that are growing from bulbs. So at the moment I've got a mile of bluebells in my front yard.
Beautiful.
Which is just absolutely, and I've got a Peruvian lily which is about to flower, which is just sensational.
Yes.
So do not cut any of those.
No, not your bulbs. Any shrubs.
No bulbs.
Any shrubs.
Let them die right back before you touch anything.
And
with
leave
those.
the leaves on
leave
those
the
too.
leaves always.
Yes, leave the leaves. We better hurry up, really. There's always weeding that never stops, so we've got to keep the weeding going.
Yes.
Any tips on that? Just get
with all your
pull
weeds.
your hands.
If you want to get on your hands and knees, that's fine. But if you've got leaves of plants that are unwanted in your garden beds, then get yourself a Flying Dutchman hoe, or they've got another little hoe that's just got a very, very short blade. And I'm just trying to think of the name of this one. It's gone out of my head. But if you get onto FD Ryan's site, you'll see these particular
weeding
implements.
Yep.
But the Flying Dutchman hoe just goes in underneath the surface, cuts the leaf off from the root, and that's it. You're leaving the nitrogen in the ground, but you're getting rid of the weed from the top.
And you recommend
Colonia hoe.
Colonia hoe. There you go. And you recommend that we let the leaves grow a little bit so we can get because I do. You go out
there with your tweezers, and you're pulling out minute little things that you'd be far better off letting them grow, letting the roots get down deep into the soil, and then just going across with a little hoe and just severing them off and letting that become organic matter to feed the soil below.
Okay.
Leave the roots in there to become carbon and food for the soil.
Fine. What pests should we be looking out for, and what pest control should we have ready to go in our sheds?
The one that I have always set up in my spray is Eco Neem. Anything like aphids, and you're going to have lots and lots of aphids and caterpillars. They're great, but you've got to spray it on a regular basis. So as soon as it comes into a stage where you've got these things happening, Eco Neem is somewhat systemic, so it's got to be absorbed by the leaves and infused, because it's for chewing and sucking insects. The other one that I use a fair bit, or when my youngest grandson or Arlo comes around, is pyrethrum for the white butterfly. Even though that we haven't got brassicas in the garden, they're just about all finished. He loves to get that spray out there when that white butterfly comes in and just knock them on the head. It's instantaneous. So that's a great one to have.
They should know better than
to
come into your garden, I think, because they're never going to survive.
But the other things that you need to be thinking of as well are things like codling moth. And I use a sticky tape around the trunk, a wide sticky tape, and then I put a band of thick Vaseline, and that will stop the codling moth coming out of the ground, crawling up the trunk, because he's now got this substance that he can't get through or past and gets embedded into. And that's a great way to stop codling moth. And the other thing you need to be considering too this year is going to be fruit flies. So exclusion nettings or traps.
Okay.
And there's various traps that you can hang in the trees that will attract either the male or the female and break that cycle up before they actually mate and then produce the maggots they're going to put into the fruit.
Okay.
So, and exclusion nettings are just brilliant because they can't get in, they can't get out.
Okay. That's pests, disease.
Disease,
Fungal diseases.
Fungal diseases, and if your soil is not set at 7, you're going to get either fusarium or verticillium wilt on tomatoes and things.
Whatever that is.
There are fungal diseases.
Right.
So make sure your pH is absolutely spot on for tomatoes, and that will stop a lot of those wilts coming in.
And keep your leaves, remove
cut,
the leaves
if you
at the
get
bottom.
any disease, cut them off, bag them, bin them.
Okay. We're going to be watering more frequently from now on, so make sure your hoses and irrigation are in top shape as well. That's very important. And I think that'll do.
I think we've loose-leafed enough.
I think we've loose-leafed enough. As always, it's been lovely to take a moment to pause and reflect on what's been happening in our gardens and to chat about what jobs have been done or should have been done. We hope this has been a helpful reminder to you, and thank you for listening, and happy gardening. Bye. Thank you for listening to Muddy Boots. For more information on today's podcast, please go to muddyboots.net.au, and happy gardening.